Okay, let's be honest for a second. When you think about who actually plans the economy, I mean, who really pulls the levers, where does your mind go?
We immediately think of governments, right? The
Yeah.
Federal Reserve, Congress, Parliament, a big official-looking building.
Exactly. These massive bureaucratic machines. And for most of us, we just feel like, passive subjects, just kind of hoping the math works out in our favor.
It's a very top-down relationship. They are the architects. We just live in the building they designed. But today's source material, it just flips that power dynamic completely.
So what are we getting into today?
We are looking at a devotional from Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris, specifically the entry for February 14th.
And the title alone really sets the stage. Administrators of the Christ Economy. That's a pretty bold claim right out of the gate.
It is. It suggests there's this entire secondary, maybe even superior economic system running parallel to the one we see on the news.
So how does the text make that case?
Well, it doesn't deny earthly governments exist. It mentions the executive and legislative branches explicitly. But then it introduces what it calls a higher assembly.
A higher assembly.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
points to a specific biblical reference, Hebrews chapter 12, verses 22 and 23. It calls it the General Assembly and Church of the Firstborn.
You know, that language, General Assembly, it sounds so political, it sounds structural, almost like a parliament.
That's the point. It's describing a literal government, but in the spiritual realm. And here's the key insight for you. The text says your name is registered in heaven.
Registered.
Registered. So you aren't just a citizen subject to its laws. You're a member of the assembly itself.
So practically speaking, you're not an outsider hoping for, I don't know, a stimulus check. You're actually at the table where the decisions are made.
You're helping run the show. The source defines believers as, and this is the quote, participants in the administration of divine resources on earth.
That word, administration, that's the pivot point, isn't it?
It's everything. It implies responsibility and authority, not just, receiving charity.
Which leads to what I think is the biggest behavioral shift in this text. Usually when people think about faith and finances, the default mode is miracle seeking. You pray, you wait, you hope something drops from the sky.
Right. But this text pushes back on that, and aggressively. It says, quote, stop thinking like someone waiting for financial miracles.
So waiting is wrong.
It argues that waiting is a complete misunderstanding of your position. If you're an administrator, you don't wait for supplies to accidentally show up. You direct them.
It's a difference between a beggar and a logistics manager.
Exactly, a logistics manager. So if we are waiting, what's the mechanism? How does an administrator actually move these resources in this Christ economy?
Yeah, how do you do it?
The text identifies the name of Jesus as the authorization key. It's not just a sign off on a prayer. It's described as an actual instrument of authority. The author claims that when you speak using that authority, resources align, doors open, and supply begins to flow. It's a vocal, active authorization.
So the whole environment is reactive. It paints a picture of a state of, I think the term was superabundance.
That's the term, yeah. A state where the supply is ceaseless, but it requires a command to get it to move.
But we have to be careful here, right? Because this often gets misinterpreted.
Oh, absolutely. It's not speak and get a sports car. The text is very specific about the purpose of this economy. It's for the, quote, salvation, blessing, and transformation of the world.
So the supply chain has a mission statement.
Precisely. You are described as a dispenser of blessings. The resources are for kingdom growth and expansion. It's about distribution, not hoarding.
So the abundance is guaranteed, but the flow is contingent on aligning with that higher purpose.
Yes, that's the check and balance in the system.
It really, really reframes the whole concept of lack. If you buy into this logic, lack isn't a supply problem, it's an administration problem.
That is the core takeaway right there. It moves you from the passenger seat of your life right into the driver's seat. You aren't a victim of the earthly economy. You're an enforcer of the heavenly one.
It definitely changes how you look at a bank statement, that's for sure.
It does. And it leaves you with a really provocative question to chew on. If you truly believe you're an administrator with the authority to direct resources, does panic ever make sense? I mean, if you're the one with the keys to the warehouse, why are you worried about running out?
That is a tough question to answer, honestly. Well, thank you for unpacking all that with us today.
Always a pleasure. Until next time.
We trust you were blessed by this episode. To gain unlimited access to Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris, please download the Rhapsody app using the link myapp.rhapsodyofrealities.org. God bless you.